So before we start, let's have some 5-10 minutes of discussion as we do on a daily basis. So first question, did you all try out the assignment that I had given yesterday? Like apart from the email trying to map the other two ones, did anyone try? So Vimala, you and Mirko, you were able to achieve the output, right? Mirko, can you just show us your code so that what you did, can you just paste it on the chat here? Just that part of the code, that's it. Or you can even unmute yourself and speak about like, did you face any issues before doing it, or it was straightforward for you because of the concepts that we did. You can unmute yourself.
Okay,
so that better we can have a discussion.
Okay, thank you. I'm going just to copy my code. Let's see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how was it? Like, were you able to achieve it one shot, or like with the concept that we did prior to that, we struggled initially with email, then we came up the issues. Did that help you out?
Well, what I did, I use as a base your code, and I just changed the types, and as you can see in the text, you can see at the bottom where it says begin of type data.
Let's do one thing. Can you just tell us your object name? We will just search it here.
Sure. It's
so that everybody will be able to see.
Okay, let me just. Okay. It's demo REST API consumption CM29. REST API consumption.
API consumption you have given full.
At the end is ZM21. Yeah, but REST API altogether.
Okay.
Yeah, because 29. I'm sorry, 29.
Fine then. So this is your city wala part, and this is your address information part, right? So you got it right. Address, tell me.
Yeah, and then when I added the address info, because the features was similar to the email, it was just basically a copy.
Yeah, right.
But the address info, I defined it as a type standard table.
Yeah, right.
You see, a standard table of type address with default key.
Yeah, right. Because this was a table type, right? Internal table.
Correct.
And this was having a structure of address, city and address as multiple records, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. So you basically created one more table type referring to this local type. Okay.
Right.
And then you did a like of this, and for the features, you again created a features here, table of string, right?
Right. And the city was a substructure of that one. Yes.
Yeah. So just like questions at the analysis and the problems that we faced during the class and how we sorted it out, that really helped you, or like?
Oh, definitely.
How did you approach it?
No, definitely.
That really helped.
Right? It helped. It really helped.
Oh.
You know, at the moment I was focusing on why I cannot get, when I was looking in my table, the 0 and the 1, I was looking on that, and I locked my mind on that. And I was totally wrong. When I went back to your original example, I saw that we never had the 0s or the 1s. It was the row number. So finally I realized I was just, going in circles for nothing.
That's why I purposely yesterday when we started, that was the reason why I purposely created that mistake, because we need to grow from that mistakes, right? Because when we create mistakes, we basically come to know where are we going wrong. And then when we reach to the solution, we can compare like how we arrived to that ultimate goal.
Right. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Mirko.
No, you're welcome. Thank you, Kabir.
Thank you. Vimla, you did anything else or you did in the same way? Stephanie, yesterday we took this same URL, directly we took from the open odata.org, http services.odata.org. When I clicked on that URL just for testing the demo data, directly I took it from there. So one suggestion to you all, whenever you are doing a REST API consumption in any of your programs, never hardcode this LV_URL. Suppose, example, you are trying to consume data from SAP SuccessFactors, example, SAP SuccessFactors, okay, and they change this URL, and if you hardcode it here, it will impact. So better you keep it in a maintainable table or make use of a TVRB, or you create a Z table, make it a client dependent one, so that you maintain the data there, okay, and so that it is specific irrespective of whatever changes you have in the URL, it doesn't hamper your output. Is this point clear to you all? That why shouldn't I hardcode this LV_URL? We just did it for the demo purpose yesterday, but in your real-time programming, please do not hardcode it. Please
Correct.
do not hardcode it. Yeah. So, any other person who faced any issue in achieving this output? Any other? We can have a discussion now. Kiran and all, Kiran, Aditi, did everyone try? So Stephanie, you understood, like, how did I get this URL? Is it clear now? Stephanie? So Stephanie, actually yesterday I took this URL from http services.odata.org. When I click on that URL, automatically this entire URL will come. If you just click on that URL and see it in a Google Chrome browser, this entire URL will come by default. I did not add anything. If you would have seen yesterday. If you just go through the recording yesterday, just see that I have not added any path or any prefix or any postfix to this URL. This entire URL came by its own. Okay. Aditi, so just a request to all participants that please practice the same, because when we practice, we are able to understand the concepts much more clearly, because then we will only understand that whatever we have been discussing in the class, whether we are really able to apply the concepts or not. So it's a request to all that please work on all the assignments, and that is the reason like why the solutions are also shared up, so that even if you are stuck, you can refer to the solution. So that I also believe that whatever efforts I am putting, you are also putting the same efforts along with me. Okay, fine then. So I take that there is no more questions and we proceed forward. Kiran, you want to speak up anything?
No, Kabir, I think I'm good. This is okay. This should be fine. Maybe we can concentrate more on the serious part.
Fine then. Then should we start with today's session, right?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. I'll put you all in. So before we start, just let me know, give me a overall idea. How many of you are normally acquainted with CDS views? Or like have anyone worked anytime with any CDS view, or this is the first time you are going to understand the concepts of CDS view? Okay. Okay, fine. Great. Not an issue. Let's start from the fresh. So the agenda that we have planned for today is, first of all, we'll be understanding like how ABAP CDS came into the picture and what are the features of an ABAP CDS view. How do we define a CDS view and the SQL view that it gets created? We will see an example of the same. Then we will basically do a comparison between your old data dictionary views along with the ABAP CDS views. And then we will be seeing with Elast ATS coming into picture, there are a lot of annotations that we use. So what are the different annotations that we use, and why do we use the same? And as a part of CDS views, we'll be covering for 3 days. So as a part of today's, the last topic that we will touch today is like how do we handle the case expressions, arithmetic expressions, and the type conversion. Similar that we had understood as a part of your enhanced modern ABAP SQL. So just keep one point in mind, the concepts that you apply in your enhanced modern ABAP SQL, those changes comes as a part of all of your CDS views. Because what SAP did, whatever features it is giving to you as a part of your CDS view, the same it is giving to you as a part of your enhanced modern ABAP SQL as well. That's why almost you will be able to use 60 to 70% of the features that you have in CDS view with respect to your SQL functions and all other features in your enhanced modern ABAP SQL. Okay, fine. So let me ask you a question. When it comes to accessing data from a database management system, that is a DBMS, can you let me know which type of query language is the first choice? What could be the best answer when it comes to fetching data from a DBMS? Yeah, Danny, SQL. Any other? Yes. So structured query language, that is SQL, is my right answer, right? And that's also our first choice. So now the next question that I throw up to all of you, do you know what are the 3 different sub languages of a SQL? Anybody who knows what are the 3 different sub languages of a SQL? Yeah, Sunil, right. DDL, DML, and DCL. Yeah, you all are right. Now, as we broadly say that SQL is divided into 3 sub languages, that is DDL, DML, and DCL. So DDL basically in one line, it helps us in creating the database objects, right? Like your tables, database views, and to maintain their properties such as create, alter, and drop. Like if I want to change a database table or a view, alter. If I want to delete a table or a view, drop. And if I want to create, obviously create. Now coming to DML, DML, data manipulation language, is basically for reading and changing the contents of a database table, and such as we use select statement, insert, update, and delete, right? Select, insert, update, modify, and delete. And now the last part, that is your data control language, DCL. It covers the aspects of your data integrity and security such as grant and revoke. So 3 simple things: DDL for creation, and DML for reading and changing the data, and DCL for data integrity and security. Now you all know that whenever you are mostly making use of OpenSQL in your ABAP programming as of till now, so you mostly cover the DML part of SQL, right? You have been mostly covering the data manipulation language, that is the DML part of the SQL. So prior to ABAP 7.4 version, there were a lot of limitations with respect to this OpenSQL, right? That's why your enhanced modern ABAP OpenSQL came up. So what were the certain restrictions, such as you did not have all kinds of joins. So there was a limited support for joins. Even you could not make use of union and union all. And tell me guys, just a simple question, were you able to make use of case expression in your prior OpenSQL statements if you are working on an old system? Yes or no? No, right? So this is also one of the restrictions, that you are not able to make use of case expressions. Another thing, Aditi, can you tell me, were we able to make use of any SQL functions as I showed on that day? Prior to 7.4, were we able to make use of any SQL function? Yes or no? Were all sequence functions possible prior to 7.4? Yeah, limited on. Right. Stephanie, just give a brief heads up, were all SQL functions possible prior to 7.4? Stephanie, are you there? Okay. So prior to 7.4, as everybody told, all of the SQL functions were not possible. That's why on that day, the date and time functions and all those that you are seeing, if you are in a system prior to 7.4, all the OpenSQL functions that I was showing up, you won't be able to use all the same. You can just try it out. Just get a hang of a system which is a very old system. Just try out if you are able to achieve any of the full enhanced modern ABAP OpenSQL, and you will get the idea. Also, a lot of computations and all that the computed values we were not able to do, and there were certain restrictions with database views as well. Okay, so with all these restrictions keeping in mind, basically earlier we were focusing on the classical approach of programming model, that is data to code. What do I mean by this picture is that, please focus on this picture. If you see, this is my classical approach of the programming model. So this is my database and this is my application layer. So what do I mean by data to code is, in the classical approach of the programming model, what we were doing, we were keeping the load away from the database. Can you see, if you see this diagram, what I am doing, I am trying to get all the data on my application layer, and I am trying to write all my intensive computations and calculations and all the data intensive logic here at my application layer. So this part, the load is more, and this part, the load is less. That's why what I mean that keep load away from the database. Then get all the data that I need from the database on my application server. Okay. And the third point that I want to say is that all the processing and computation, as I already told, will be done at the ABAP layer, and hence I am saying data to code. Please mark these words, data to code. I go to the database, get all the data, write all the code here to do all kind of calculations. So earlier we were focusing on this three basic approach of classical ABAP programming. Now, what happened basically, to benefit from most of the SAP HANA's capabilities, now it's better to do all the extensive calculations and aggregations on the HANA database itself, rather than to transfer these huge amounts of data onto the ABAP application server. This is one of the primary fundamental change to the ABAP programming paradigm, and hence it now became the code to data rather than data to code. So this point which I say is specific to HANA as a database is that to make the best use of the in-memory computing feature of the HANA database, we should avoid moving unnecessary large volumes of data from the database to the application server, and all my data intensive calculations should now shift to the database, that is code to data. So that's why I say now the focus shifts from data to code to data as a part of ABAP on HANA functionality. So are you guys still guessing how do we achieve the same from data to code to data? Yes or no? Are you guys still guessing, or did you get a clue like how do we achieve the same from data to code to data? Any answers? Okay, fine. So let me elaborate. Yes, you all are right. So all the restrictions that I told just a few seconds back, which were related to classical ABAP programming, these all restrictions went away when starting with the release from 7.4 SP5 onwards, along with SAP HANA. As my SAP HANA started becoming fully supported by the ABAP systems, so that I am able to fully utilize HANA's potentials. So as I now focus on this diagram, I have kept both the scenarios parallelly. Now, as a part of the code to data push down, CDS views, that is your core data services, came into picture, which can be used for defining and consuming your semantically rich data models. Now, just if you focus on both these diagrams, as I told earlier, this will make it very much clear for you. See here, data to code before SAP HANA. And guys, please remember this picture in your mind. whenever you are working on ABAP on HANA perspectives. ABAP on HANA perspectives, as in I say, ABAP on HANA functionality. Okay. So if you just focus on this diagram, earlier this will completely clarify all the doubts that you will still be having. So this is my database, data intensive logic at my application server. I transfer huge amount of data here. I earlier used to do internal tables, blah blah and all, loop at internal table, do all kind of calculations, right? Now my focus shifts from this kind of programming model to this kind of programming model, which I say code to data with SAP HANA. So here this is my database. I transfer all my whatever logic I was writing at the application server level. I transfer everything here. Your entire data intensive logic, it shifts here, and then I get the ultimate output. Now focus on these four things: CDS views, SQL functions, AMDPs and expressions and all. So we already saw what the power that is given to us as a part of your enhanced modern ABAP OpenSQL. AMDPs will be covering as the last part of this course. Now we are focusing on CDS views. So that's why I say, as a part of code to data push down, one of the functionalities, that is core data services, this came into picture, which can be used for defining and consuming semantically rich data models. So if somebody asks you what is the technical definition of a CDS view, you should say a core data service, that is CDS, are a collection of domain specific languages and services for defining and consuming semantically rich data models. Basically, in layman term, what it means is that it's a group of languages, that is domain specific languages and services, which I mean is it's a group of languages like your DDL, query language and DCL, and the semantically rich data models implies your database views and tables. So out of your database views and tables which you already have, I am trying to create a semantically rich data model by the help of DDL, DCL and QL, and this is how I achieve a core data services, a CDS view. So from your knowledge perspective, it is available from ABAP 7.4 SP05 only. Prior to that, you will not get this one. And second point is that broadly CDS views are of two types: HANA CDS and ABAP CDS. So if anybody asks you that have you ever worked on HANA CDS, don't be confused that it's a new word to you. HANA CDS is one more variant of your CDS views, but we as an ABAP developers, we focus on ABAP CDS views, not on the HANA CDS views. But you should know that there is one more concept of CDS views called the HANA CDS views, but we as an ABAPer, we primarily focus on ABAP CDS views. So guys, till this point, is it clear? Like how the evolution of CDS came into picture and the difference between code to data and data to code. So yeah, MC, the main difference between these two is as the name says, this is the HANA CDS, right? This is specific to only HANA as a database. It cannot be created in any other database. Whereas ABAP CDS, this can be created on any database. It is not specific. This is database independent. When we do the features of CDS view, it will be much more clear to you. HANA CDS are basically done completely on the development is on the HANA as a database, okay? And the development is also done on your database itself. But ABAP CDS, this is database independent and it can be developed on any database. Is your question clear, MC? Okay. Now, let's move forward to the features of your ABAP CDS. Okay. So, first point, which is very important that you need to keep in mind. Okay. So, ABAP CDS views are meant for your ABAP applications only. Okay. ABAP based applications and are database independent. Please mark my words. Database independent, and they provide much more SQL features than your classical dictionary views, which helps us in advanced view building capabilities. So the first point, This also used to get supported on all database management system, but this is also database independent, but the benefit that you get is that they provide much more SQL features. And in ABAP CDS views, we don't create any data models from scratch, right? Because just a few minutes back, I already told that we use our existing database tables and views, and on the top of that, we create our data models. Now, the question that MC was asking me, what about HANA CDS views? In HANA CDS views, since we do the development at the database itself, there we can create the data model from scratch, because if someone is a HANA developer, then he can create the data model from scratch. But if you are working on ABAP CDS views, you do not have to create a data model from scratch. We just define and consume them, as in we use the existing database tables and views. Now coming to the second point, I used a word called annotations. Annotations, basically, to make it very simple, it is to add semantic information, as in to connect the existing data modeling or the tables to the latest technologies. Like, just give me a second, guys. So latest technologies like your OData and UI5, and also advanced joining of tables by making use of associations. Okay, so what does the annotations gives us the flexibility is to that we can easily expose our CDS view as an OData. We will see this in the upcoming class. And how we make use of this in our front-end technologies. Again, one more important point is that please make this concept very much clear, is that ABAP CDS views rest in your application, reside in your application server itself, and is fully integrated in the ABAP data dictionary, but your entire logic processing is done in your HANA as a database or anything as a database. This should be very much clear to you, that ABAP CDS views reside in the application server itself, but it is fully integrated with the ABAP data dictionary, and your entire logic execution and processing takes on your database. Okay, now if you see this picture, inner join and simple selection only, but see here, inner join, outer join, union all, and many other things came into picture. Calculation, expression, aggregation, grouping, it is not possible here. Here it's possible. If I want to build a view on top of view, view on top of view, and nested view and all, like how we create a nested structure, this is not possible with your ABAP dictionary view, whereas the same is possible with your ABAP CDS view. Are all these features clear, guys? These 4 to 5 features? And even your MC, your doubt is much more clear, right? Your HANA CDS and ABAP CDS. Okay. Now, so coming to the ABAP CDS related repository objects. Till now, you have been handling all your ABAP objects in your ABAP SE80 ABAP repository, right? So for your CDS view, you cannot handle the same through the same SE80 ABAP repository. There is a new repository called the DDL repository. So if somebody asks you what is the ABAP CDS related repository object, it is the data definition language, that is the DDL repository, where you find a collection of all your CDS views. So now let us first try to start creating a CDS view, and then we come back to the concepts. Okay, one very important point is that if you want to create a CDS view, for the time being, as on till today, for CDS view creation, apart from your Eclipse ADT, there is no other way out. Apart from your Eclipse ADT, there is no other way out that you can create your core data services. So that's why your ABAP Eclipse comes more into picture, and that's why I say, if you get habituated to more of your ABAP Eclipse, the more you start creating your CDS and AMDP. So now how do we create a CDS view? Similarly, like we have done, new, go to your ABAP repository object. Just in HANA Studio, with the HANA Studio, then again you need to install a plugin, as I had already told, because you need the ABAP development perspective. HANA, see, I am talking about ABAP CDS. I'm not talking about HANA CDS. Please focus. I'm not talking about ABAP HANA CDS. I'm talking about ABAP CDS only. Is it clear, Jasmine? Okay. So here, put data definition. Now see here, for data services, data definition. Okay. Click on next. No, Sudha, HANA Studio is not a plugin in Eclipse. HANA Studio is a complete IDE by itself. SAP's HANA Studio is a completely integrated development environment by itself, where you can do all kind of your HANA modeling and development work. In your organization, suppose if you get access to HANA Studio, please try out the same. You can see HANA Studio looks almost similar to your Eclipse, but it is used only if you do not install any plugin. Then by default it is used only for your HANA development and modeling. Okay. Now let us give a name. Let's not write first series. So if you want to give a TR, if you already have a TR, select the TR as we have discussed earlier. All the things that remains the same, just that you have to select a data definition there. So now this part is important. Okay. Now if you don't want to select any template, don't select any templates. If you want to select a template, use the selected templates. So now I want to simply define a basic view. Okay. I want to define a basic view with a join. So I define view with join. This template I chose and click on finish. So now see, automatically these all things got created. Okay. So now, since automatically all these things got created, the first important thing that you need to do here is this is my define view, this is my CDS view name, right? This is my CDS view name. Now, if you see here, I told that the CDS views are in a different repository called DDL repository. So if you would have seen me, what I did, the name of the DDL repository, let me go here. This is my data definition, the DDL repository, right? So can you see the DDL repository? Now here, CDS learn. So this is my DDL repository. Now if I expand it here, I can't see anything because I haven't activated anything. So one important point that you should keep in mind is that your DDL name, this is my DDL name, DDL repository name, DDL name, data definition language, DDL name and your CDS view name can be same or it may not be same. But as per the general practice and as per some of the SAP recommendations, this CDS view name and your DDL name in most of the cases remains the same. But it's not a mandatory thing, please keep in mind. This is my CDS view name and my DDL name. Most of the times it is same, but it is not mandatory that it has to be same. Now we will see this annotation as we proceed. Okay. The important annotation that we need to focus here is @ABAP catalog .SQL view name. This provides your SQL view name. Why this provides your SQL view name is that whenever you create a CDS view, now let us go here. Whenever this is my DDL source, this is my dictionary object, right? So whenever with a part of this DDL source, whenever I try to create a CDS view, so as I say is that a CDS view, as I told you, it's defined in a DDL source, which is a new type of repository object. Now there is no editor for your DDL source in the classical ABAP workbench. That's why I told that for this new type of repository object, it has to be analyzed and developed in your ADT Eclipse ABAP perspective only. Now, coming to the most important point, upon activation of this DDL source, two objects are created. That is, one will be SQL view, one will be CDS view. Now, if you shift your focus here, till this point I have not activated it, right? So, are you able to see anything here? Any SQL view, any CDS view? Yes or no? Are you able to see anything? No, right? Yes. Now, again, if I start linking it here, as I told you, only generated upon activation only. Your SQL view and your CDS view will get created. Now, let us start relating and doing it. So, now what I'll do, I'll just first create a basic CDS view. So, let me not give anything. Okay, let me not give anything. First, let us write the query. So, what should we do? Let us take from SPFLI and SCAR, suppose. So, SPFLI, okay. Now, rather than left outer join, let us do an inner join. Here, SCAR. So, I can give alias name here. I do not have to specify as. Even if I don't specify as, it's fine. If you want to specify, it's fine. If you don't want to specify, that also it's fine. Okay. Now, here what I'll give, that is a dot char id equals to b dot char id. Fine. Now, if you do control and space here, it will give you the feasibility of selecting all the elements of both the tables A and B. Can you see? But I don't want to select both the tables. Fine. Now what I do, I'll give a dot char id as carrier underscore id alias name. A dot con id carrier name and currency code as currency. Then I'll take airport from airport to and city from and city to. So if you see here, I haven't used any aliases for this because this is specific to only my SPFLI. So if something is specific to only of your that database table or view only, I don't need to specify the alias. Since char id was there in both, if you see here, char id was there in both. That's why I used A dot, or you can use B dot as well. Now, if you see here, just I have written up to this. Okay, no where condition, nothing. Now see this point that here a error comes. This is the best part of your editing Eclipse we had discussed earlier. So if you see here, object SQL view name of type view was already created in this, right? Now I haven't given any CDS view name. So sorry, a SQL view name. Now what I do, let us give a SQL view name. SQL demo learn. Fine. Now see the error went. So what understanding did you get from this? Anyone? What understanding did you get from this? Anyone? Any guesses? Any guesses? When I specified the SQL view name, the error went. Any guesses? Yeah, you all are right. Any other guesses? So the first thing that you should focus is that as a part of the annotation, this annotation is very important. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just comment this out. Okay, I just comment this out and I also comment this out. Now see here, name of SQL view missing. Annotation ABAP catalog dot SQL view name must be specified. So this annotation is the mandatory annotation for any CDS view. Please keep in mind, this annotation is the mandatory annotation for any CDS view. So the first point that you need to keep in mind that you need to specify a SQL view, and if you don't specify, it will keep on throwing error. Now let me do a syntax check. Activate the same. So now just keep on focusing here also. Okay, I have activated the same. Now let me do a refresh. Let us refresh here also. Still refresh hasn't happened. So let me take the output first and show you. Just if you do F8, you get this entire output. Carrier ID, con ID, CAR name, currency, airport from and airport to and all. If you see here, this carrier underscore ID is showing me the alias name because I had specified an alias name here. Okay, now if I just do a refresh again. This hasn't yet got synced or what? Let me just close this and again open this. So let me specify the same here. So here data definition and data entity. So let me open it here. Yeah, now it got refreshed. Can you see here? Yeah, Tushit, now it is showing up. So now the point that I was telling you, this point. Now try to link this point. Upon activation of your DDL source, two objects gets created. One is your CDS view entity and the other is your SQL view. This CDS view entity, it does not exist in your ABAP dictionary nor on your database. This carries more of your semantic. So your DDL source is your dictionary object. Okay, it contains definition of your SQL view and CDS view. But this CDS view entity, it is neither in your dictionary nor on your database, and it carries more of semantic information. And the other object, that is the SQL view, which gets created, this is your dictionary object, and this is similar to how it represents a database object like you used to see your database view. Now let me again navigate to there. Now if you see here, there is some issue, I don't know what it is not showing. Okay, let me navigate to the SQL view. So I told you a SQL view also gets created, right? So generated DDL SQL views are only supported in a limited way by SE11. So what do you think? Can you edit the same? See here, you cannot edit this object with the standard editor. You cannot edit the same. So your SQL view which got created, if you see the table and join conditions, it will be same like how you used to do it earlier. Scar, SPFLI, this is my table. If you shift your focus here, can you see the DDL source name? What did I say? Your DDL source name and your CDS entity view name can be same or cannot be same. But here I have kept it same, right? So since I have kept it same here, can you see your DDL source name? Now coming to your view fields. Now, since by default your char ID and con ID is your key fields, right? Guys, you don't have any query like how did this become key fields? I did not specify anything here. Have I specified anything, any key, anything? But did you see by default in my SQL view, I am having two key fields. Yeah, Sudha, right. Yeah, Naren, right. This key fields came from your underlying database tables. So this key fields came from your underlying database tables. So mandate, carrier ID, con ID. Now if I double click on this, it will again navigate back to here. Okay. Now let me show you the other way around. That is from your SAP GUI. So from your SAP GUI now, so I'll just put this. Now, if I try to double click here, if you see your data definition here, data definitions can only be edited using ADT and Eclipse, as I was telling you. That this new type of repository object, you cannot do any kind of development or editing in your ABAP workbench. You need to make use of your ADT and Eclipse. So you can just see your entire code here, but you cannot see here. So if you want to navigate here, just double click on here from your SAP GUI, you will be able to see the code. And if you want to see the same, you just put your data definition here, DDL source name here, and you will be able to see your SQL view name. Sorry, not the SQL view, your CDS view details here. Okay, so this SQL view is basically, as I told you, is visible as an object in the ABAP dictionary, where it cannot be edited and it serves as a representation of the database object. And one more thing, the CDS views carries your more semantics than its SQL view. And as I told earlier, it is neither created on the database nor it is visible in your ABAP dictionary, but we can, however, consume it via OpenSQL. So CDS view consumption, when it comes to CDS view consumption, simple thing is that when I am creating a CDS view, apart from my CDS view entity, my SQL view is also getting activated and generated, right? So either I can fetch the data from my SQL view, as in through this, or I can fetch the data from my CDS view, because if I do an F8 here, this is also I get my data. But from 7.4 SP5 onwards, with the help of your OpenSQL, you can consume the data from your CDS view as well as your SQL view. But as per the recommendations, as an ABAP got more and more evolved, the SAP suggests that whenever you want to consume your data from your data definition DDL, rather than using your SQL view, start making use of CDS views to get the data in your ABAP application server. So you should make a habit that whenever you want to consume a CDS view in your reports or anything in your any of your ABAP objects, rather than referring to your SQL view, refer to your CDS view to get the data. Is up to this point, is it clear, guys? So I give you 6 to 7 odd minutes to create a CDS view. It's not mandatory that you have to create the same fields. You can club and mix up and match up anything. Just create this basic CDS view and then we move forward. Please create your basic CDS view. It's 8:19 now, but I give you all time till up to 8:25. All of you, please create your first CDS view. If you haven't created till now, please create your first CDS view. You can use any of the elements. It's not that you have to use the same elements. Okay? Is it fine with all? Okay, fine. And also one thing what you try is, whenever you are giving your DDL source name, some of you what you do know, in your DDL source name and your CDS view name, here after you have created your DDL source name, by default this comes as the same name, right? Just try to change it. Make some changes, add 1 or 2 or whatever it is, make some changes and see whether this name and your DDL source name can be different or not. Please try this out also. Please try this out. Guys, is it done or do you need 3-4 minutes more? Naren, we will do it. So let us see what Danny has to say. Oh, so Danny, I think you have, can you give us your, okay, this is your CDS view name. Naren, I think thanks for highlighting from, I think with MS SQL 2008 onwards, earlier they used to provide your, it used to come like this, my CDS view and my this thing, my SQL view name, but now I am not able to see that. So, who asked me this question? Danny, just comment this line and see the difference. Okay, we will just do it now. I think Danny, you are only doing it fine. Danny, did you try commenting this out? Okay, should I do a refresh? Okay. Now let me navigate. Yeah, it came. That's why I told we will go step by step with each and every. I'll also explain you the importance. What is the importance of this annotation? So guys, I think there is a drastic difference this time. Actually, what happened when we used to earlier create a CDS view, we were able to see here our SQL view name and our CDS view entity, and this is my DDL source. If you see the earlier ones, okay, this is my DDL source, this is my CDS view entity, this is my SQL view. But now we are not able to see the same. Here it is showing only the DDL source name. There is no SQL view name coming up here, though it is getting generated and activated, but this doesn't show here. So you people are able to see here. I think the system is not getting refreshed. Okay, wait. So you all are able to see both SQL view and CDS view entity, right? Can you please all confirm? I thought that's why it is not showing for me. Yes, it came up, guys. No, Naren, I don't have the latest Eclipse version. I have 2020-06 only. Okay, guys, anyone tell me how do we check the Eclipse version? I'll not tell you now. Does anyone know how to check the Eclipse version? Okay. So Naren, once I click on help, where do I need to go? After that, where do I need to go? Yes. About Eclipse IDE. Here. See here, I am using the 2020, the latest which should have come now, 2020-09. 4.17 or something odd. I haven't yet installed it. So I hope that everybody of you are done with the creation of CDS view. Can we proceed? Can you please all confirm? Okay. Now, coming to this point, what happens basically if I uncomment the same and activate my CDS view? If I activate my CDS view now, and if I navigate here, so as Danny was facing, you won't be able to see the keys. Why this thing happened? Any guesses why this thing happened? Any guesses, guys? Any guesses why this thing happened? Mirko, for navigation, I'm just using F3, whatever I taught you earlier. Same. Nothing difference. Vijay, see, the 7.55 is a very new thing now because many won't be having that much upgraded version of NetWeaver as well. So we will not go much into that because it's a very highly 7.55 upgrade. If you see most of the organizations, NetWeaver 7.51, 7.52, 7.56, 7.4. 7.55 is a very rare thing which many of the organizations won't even have as of now, right? So SAP has come up with that where SQL view will not be coming into picture anymore. Without SQL view, your view entities will get generated, right? So general information to all is that with SAP NetWeaver 7.55 onwards, this SQL view will go out of picture. They are trying to make it much more lightweight. That now what's happening upon generation and activation, my SQL view and CDS view both are coming into picture. But with NetWeaver 7.55, please keep in mind with 7.55 only. With 7.55, the SQL view will go out of picture. It is just it is in the limelight now, but the problem is 7.55. Many people won't be having that system. That's why we won't focus much on that. But just for your basic information, just I'm telling you of the same. Fine. Okay. Now coming to this at the rate ABAP catalog.preserve key true. So here if I specify key field. Here, if I specify key field, okay, and Control F2, Control F3. Now, if I navigate here, and if you see, now my career ID, PON ID, and my mandate again becomes my key field. So, important point that what I want to say is that if this one is commented out, then now okay, what do I show you? Okay, wait, I'll comment this out. Now it will be better. Just for demo purpose, okay. Though carrier name, char ID and can name, I'm trying to make it a key field. Just for demo purpose. Now let's see what happens. Now let me activate this. One more thing in CDS view, there is no concept of asterisk. Don't try to put asterisk manually. Okay, in CDS view, there is no concept of asterisk. Don't try to put asterisk manually. If you want to put like this comment or Control Shift Control and 7 and Control and Shift and less than sign. Don't put asterisk. Now coming back. Now if I specify this char ID and char name as the key field here, and I have activated the same. Now let me navigate to the SQL view and let me show you. So carrier ID and char name became my key fields, right? Now I have specified key field here and I'll comment the same. Just see. I'll comment the same. I've commented. Let me activate. So guys, can anybody tell me now what will the output be of this SQL view? Anybody? Anybody tell me what will be the impact? Do I have specified key here? What will be the impact? So MC is telling 3 key fields. Which 3 key fields will come? So you are telling original plus the selected. So you are telling carrier ID, currency, con ID, mandate. Leave mandate. Mandate to anyways leave. Mandate by default it is coming. Carrier ID, con ID, char name. Okay. So you all are saying that carrier ID, con ID and char name. Manikanta is saying carrier ID, con ID. Fine. Manikanta database layer. Okay. So now let's see who is correct. Either Manikanta is correct or other people are correct. See what happened. Can you see what happened? I'll again go back. I'll do an activate. Now I'll go here. I go back here. See here, all became my key fields. All became my key fields. Can you see here? See here how it started behaving abruptly. Now, if I remove this key fields keyword from here, key, and now if I activate, okay, and now if I don't give, now let's see what happens. It is not getting refreshed or what? We will just reload the same. I think there is some issue with the system. I'll provide the key. Guys, just if you are logged into the system, please come out. Don't do now. I'll give you all time to practice. Because the system is taking a lot of time to refresh what I'm observing. Actually, normally what happens, even if I specify key here, and if I comment this out ABAP catalog.preserve key true, your key fields for the respective SQL view will be derived implicitly from the database tables itself and the join conditions, as Manikant was telling. But the system, so that's why I'm telling, just don't log into the system. I'll give you time. It's taking a lot of time to get refreshed. Let me close and redo this. There is some issue. It's not getting refreshed properly, I think. Normally the concept is what happens if I provide a keyword to any of the elements of my this data model, and if I comment this @ABAP catalog.preserve key as true, what it implies is that even if I specify this as my key elements, okay, but it overrides that and the key fields will be derived implicitly from my database views and joins. So let us again uncomment the same. Now let us navigate. Now it started behaving properly. So carrier ID and char name came. Now if okay, one important point that I want to show you here is, suppose if I want to start giving key fields from here, example, let me uncomment this. If I want to start giving key fields from here, will it allow or not? It will start showing me an error. Why? Because you need to make sure that whatever key fields you are specifying, it should be contiguous and it should start from the first position. It should give you the error that key must be contiguous and start at the first position. So if you want to specify your key element, this element as a key field, you need to make sure that it should be specified from here. Now let me again activate the same. Control and F3. And now let me navigate to the same. So I have added one more now, carrier ID, con ID, char name. Okay. So make sure that whenever you want to specify your key fields in your data modeling and you want them to preserve the same, you need to make use of this annotation @ABAP catalog.preserve key. So now I ask you a basic question. Suppose I am consuming this CDS view in my ABAP objects, okay? And if I give okay, I've commented it out. Yep. Understood what was the issue? Guys, did you understand what was the issue? Can anyone tell me what was the issue? So Anuja says no. Mirko, any guesses? What was the issue? Okay. See here. I get commented this con ID, right? See here. I'll comment out the same. Activate now. Okay. I have commented out this con ID. Just observe the behavior. These all things are very crucial. I navigate the same. My all becomes my this thing. Carrier ID, CAD name, currency, airport from, airport to, city from, city to. Why? Can you tell me why? Anybody, can you tell me why this is becoming like this? Any guesses, guys? Why? Because, tell me a simple question. When I try to join these two tables, SCAR and SPFLI, okay, SCAR and SPFLI, for if you go to this table, just a second. If you go to this table, key field is key is mandate, key is char ID, key is con ID. Con ID is my key field, right, for SPFLI. Now similarly, if I go to SCAR, key is mandate and key is char ID, right? Now, if you go to my underlying CDS view, I have commented out this con ID, right? I have not given this con ID. I have commented this out. So, when the system is trying to interpret how it is trying to make unique records, if con ID is not there, will it be able to interpret unique records? That's why it is making all as key field. Are you getting my point? Yeah, Aditi. Did you all get my point? Why this kind of behavior? See, now if I uncomment this, okay, if I uncomment this and activate the same, now my this char ID and con ID which is there as my part of my underlying database tables and my views, those two makes the combination of my unique records, right? So now when I navigate back to this SQL view, when I navigate back to the SQL view and I have commented out @ABAP catalog.preserve key as true, so by default mandate char ID and con ID. Now what I want, I don't want mandate char ID and con ID. In my data modeling, I want char ID, con ID, char name. Okay, I'll again uncomment the same, I'll activate the same, and now I navigate to my SQL view once that I have activated the same. So I go here and see mandate, leave mandate, carrier ID, con ID, char name. Now is this concept clear, right guys? This ABAP catalog.preserve key should be very much clear with you all. That's why we mixed up and messed up and see how it happened. Now guys, a common question to you. Example. If my @ABAP catalog.preserve key true is commented, okay, please understand to my question. Please understand my question. If my @ABAP catalog.preserve key true is commented, and in my ABAP object I am consuming the CDS view, not by the CDS view but by the SQL view, okay, or even by the CDS view. And when I am consuming, if I give order by the whatever key fields I have given, that is order by primary key, what will be the impact? Can anyone answer? If this is commented and I am consuming this in my ABAP object and I give order by primary key, what will be the impact? Guys, answer please. Anyone? Wait, let me unmute. To speak up, please unmute yourself and please give us the answer.
Kavita, I think this is Kiran.
So Manikanta, Naren, you want to speak up? Please unmute yourself.
I think it will be started.
My question is, if I comment this @ABAP catalog.preserve key as true, let me do it for you. Fine. Now I activate this. Okay. Now when I activate this, what happens when I try to fetch the data from my CDS view? What did I say? The CDS view is neither a data dictionary object nor it is there in my database, right? Now try to link whatever concepts I told till now. CDS view is neither my data dictionary object, this point. CDS view is neither in the dictionary nor in the database. So what happens when I try to fetch the data from my CDS view as well? It ultimately will go here. Innerly it will go to my SQL view. Now that I have commented that ABAP catalog.preserve key true. Initially while giving my data modeling, I had made char ID, con ID and char name. Okay. Now if I navigate to my this thing, to my SQL view, so what will happen is that if you give order by primary key, only char ID and con ID is my primary key, right Kiran? But char name won't be coming into picture. Am I right or am I wrong? So order by primary key, what you did, the answers that you needed and the answers that you got, is it same or is there a change because of this conflict? Is there a change or did it work out? Change, right? So what you wanted and what you exactly needed, you did not achieve the same, right?
Yeah.
So that is the reason, that is one more primary reason. If you want to use order by primary key, please make sure that your @ABAP catalog.preserve key true is in use. Now were you able to relate it? That's why I threw up this question to you all. Understood guys? @ABAP catalog.preserve key. So I give you 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Please understand this concept. Please comment and uncomment and please do it now. Please, 2 minutes. So that it will be much more clear and you will never forget it. 2 to 3 minutes. Please practice the same now on your same CDS view that you created. Guys, is it done? Can we move further? What about the others? Okay. Now, above this define view, whatever you are seeing, this is all my view annotations. This will be all my view annotations. Whatever you see inside this select query, inside these two braces, this will all be my whatever annotations I will use here. This will be my element level annotation. So let me show you one example. @ end user text dot label, and I want to give the label as career ID. Aditi, just do an F3, you will be able to navigate to the SQL view, or otherwise you go here in your core data services, here double click on this one. It will go to your navigate to your SQL view. So @ end user text dot label as career ID. Okay. So this is called my view annotation. This is called my leading view annotation because prior to my element, I am giving my annotation @ end user text dot label. What do I mean here is, even though if I activate the same, I won't be able to see any kind of difference here. I'll show you. It shows career ID only because this end user text dot label is with respect to that I told that we can expose the CDSs as an OData, and also this can be used in the front end. So when I'm using this data modeling in the front end, or I'm using it anywhere which can be consumed to the front end. Guys, just give me 1 minute. So when I use them in the front end, this char ID, it will be giving the description as carrier ID. So this way I can write a leading element. This is called my leading annotation. Now similarly I can do it at the end of the element as well. How? Suppose if I want to give as this one, okay. So how do I specify the same? First I have to give @ Element annotations always start with @ Without if you see anything from @ it is an annotation. Okay. So leading element annotation, leading annotation for an element, we are giving just @ and then the annotation name. But here I have to use a less than symbol and end user text dot label, and here I give currency key. Okay. Now let me again activate the same. So guys, till now you understood that whenever we are activating a CDS view, we are getting a SQL view for the same. Okay. So is there any way I can see that SQL view which has created this SQL view? So with annotations also which I'm writing, how do I see all these things? Okay. Just right click on your CDS view, let it get activated. Now here there is a statement called show SQL create statement. Just click here and see this create view ZSQL demo learn as select from this thing. If anybody of you gets access to a HANA database where you can do a development, we create any, as I was telling you, the DDL part, create view, the view name as select this from this a inner join this. Can you see here? This is your SQL view statement, which is basically helping to create your SQL view on the same. If you want to navigate to the tables of the join, just do an F3. That's it. See here. You want to navigate anything, anytime, at any go, just do an F3. That's it. Now, the second thing that I was telling is that, no, Stephanie, it will not be like SE11. I told you earlier as well. It will not be like SE11. If you do a navigation from here to there, even if I open a table from here, I told you, right? If I open the SAP GUI perspective from here, SAP GUI, and if I give a table name, it will again come back like this only. So this, you cannot do anything. So now the next point that I was telling is, if you go here, open with, and if you see all your active annotations, because I gave two annotations, right? One, for the end user text label is here, one annotation, two annotation, the annotation as the text label for your CDS view, 1 and 2 for my element level annotation. This was at the leading level and this is at the trailing annotation. Okay. Now if I want to see, open with, click on your active annotations. And I'll expand the same. Wait. Now can you see your active annotation? Just wait. I'll minimize this. Okay. Now focus here. I'll collapse all. Now this is my CDS view name, right? And these are your entity annotations. That is, I was telling your view annotations. @ABAP catalog.SQL view name, right? Though I gave this value. Okay. Now the preserve key we gave true, and @end-user text.label, this is the label that we had given to the CDS view. Now coming to the carrier ID, @end-user text.label, text.quick info, text.heading. We did not specify anything for this annotation value. So for the label, it is showing as the carrier ID. Now, if you see this translatable text, this end-user text.label, that is read @end-user text dot whatever it is, all are translatable. You can translate to any language. So that's why it is showing the translatable text in the system language EN as carrier ID. By default, it will take the system language. So this was my annotation value and my translatable text is this. I haven't specified anything here. It is taken from your ABAP dictionary, airline code and ID. You can see the data source here. This is my data source. And if you see here, since I did not specify anything here, the data source is coming from your data dictionary. That is SPFLI and the data element. Similarly, if I collapse this con ID, since I did not specify anything, whatever it is taken from your original data source only. Okay. If I go here to your currency, and similarly I had specified the currency key here. So that's why my original data source will become as my CDS view, and for the others, since I did not specify the quick info and heading, so this will be taken from your original data source. So once again I'll show you. I'll just click here, right click, open with, click on active annotations, and you will be able to see what all active annotations you have with respect to this data model. Now one more important point. If you see here, open with, I was going to data preview through F8. You can also click here and the data preview will open. So you need to understand this data preview very properly. Why? If you want to see the number of entries, suppose that I know that I want to match whatever data model I have created on the basis of the joins or whatever I do, if my entries are correct or not, you can match the same here. If you want to select any specific columns, click on this select column, and if you don't want to show the same, suppose I don't want to show city from and city to, okay. So gone, city from city to not required. If I want to get it back, done. If I want to see the filter out the data, that is, if I want to see the data only for the carrier ID AA, okay, click on this carrier ID, click on this value as A, just click on enter. That's it. Enter, and that's it. Done. Just close this and done. If I want to see the value of the airport currency as USD example, that's it. Remove this, that's it, done. If I want to open, okay, one more important feature that you get here is you get a SQL console here. So this is my SQL console and this is my raw data. Fine. See here, compare both vice versa. Now from the SQL console you want to play around. Suppose in your ABAP layer you will be writing select from CDS view name fields this, right? So suppose I want to write where career underscore ID equals to AA. Okay, and now run the same. So execute open SQL statement. See here, you can even execute the same. So you get almost your all features here with this data preview, which will be very handy for you to analyze the data, manipulate, play around, further deep dive, and then again come to your result. Did you guys understand how to make use of this data preview perfectly? By the SQL console, or by the filter, or by selecting any specific fields. In this way you can play around and see different variants of this. If I just want to close it, just close this and back here. Yeah, Naren, I'll show you active use case. Matlab, how do we build a list report? I'll just show you, though it's not a part of this course, but I'll show you how we have created a CDS view with complete annotations and how we have built a list report using those CDS and annotations only. No front-end coding. I'll show you that on the third day. Is it fine? Yeah, Stephanie, we can add a where clause. I'll go step by step. Now see, so as Stephanie now wants it, fine, not an issue. So here, suppose this my, okay, Stephanie, just give me what do you want in where? Char ID, con ID, what do you want? Can you give me different set of char ID? Okay, suppose char ID equals to okay. Now if I activate the same, okay, now let me take the output of the same. See here, that's it. I'll close this. If I want to comment this out, I'll comment this out. So once again repeating, this end user text.label, this annotation is related to your translatable text. Okay, once again I repeat the same, this is related to your translatable text. So what I mean is that whatever text you specify, as of now it is picking up from the system language and it is showing in English. Suppose someone in Germany opens up the same, it will show in the German language. So this all are the end user text that the end user wants to see. Suppose instead of career ID, I want to see it as something called career lines ID or something, whatever I want, anything. So whatever text you want to specify to the front end user, as in the end user, and in the front end, whatever he wants to see, whatever text you specify here, the same text he will be able to see. Is it clear, Manikanta? Now, so we saw view annotation, element annotation, how to handle ABAP preserve key, okay, and also we saw some of the CDS related tools like active annotations. Now going forward, I want to show you one more thing. There is something called dependency analyzer. what does this do is, this shows you the entire SQL dependency tree. So this is the SQL view which got created, right? This got created from my SPFLI and SCAR. Okay, if you see the relation here, from SPFLI inner join SCAR, read like this, from SPFLI inner join SCAR, this is the SQL relation. Now object type, focus here, these two were my database table, TABL. But this is my CDS view. So this SQL view is corresponding to my CDS view, right? So CDS view STOB. What is the CDS view name? This is my entity name, that SCR27 demo CDS learn. So if you see here, this is the database object, this is the database object. Why it is showing as true here? This is showing as true with respect to your SQL view, because SQL view is a representation of the database object, and I haven't specified any access control, so no. Did you understand the SQL dependency tree? So this tool comes in very handy. Data preview, your active annotations, your dependency analyzer, and if you want to see your activation graph, so now there is nothing, just a simple CDS view I have created. Otherwise it will show you the entire activation graph, because now this is the sole CDS view. So this shows you the activation graph as well. Till now, is it clear, guys? Some of the CDS tools along with the annotations. Sunil, actually to broadly specify, we will cover that. Just wait. We'll go step by step. Now let me first write out the difference for you between the SE11 views and the CDS views. So SE11 views and the CDS view. Can anyone tell me the first difference? Yeah, after this we will take a 2-minute break, Stephanie. Once we finish this, we'll take a 2-minute break. First, tell me, can anyone tell me the first difference? Anyone tell me the first difference? Simple, you forgot, guys. This can be created from Eclipse ADT platform only, right? Simple, first difference. And this can be created from SAP GUI or Eclipse. This can be created from SAP GUI or Eclipse. Second difference, here your calculated columns are not possible, as I told earlier. And here calculated columns are possible because you can apply arithmetic expressions, your inbuilt CDS functions, case expressions, and so on. So here calculated columns are possible. Now here in SE11 views we cannot specify something called as input parameters, but here in CDS views there is a different variant called CDS views with input parameters. Okay, and those input parameters I can use it as a part of the columns also, calculated columns also, and for filtering the data also. So input parameters are allowed. Here input parameters are not allowed. Now the next difference, here earlier we used to give only joins and all, right? But here your join, union, unional and all are possible. So here join, union and union all. Now the best part is annotations, as Aldo or Mirko was telling. Annotations are not possible. Here annotations are possible. And obviously reusability and nested, all those features are there. Because here you cannot create a nested SE11 views. Here we can go nested SE11 views. So nested views are possible, and here nested views are not possible. So one more important point, since CDS views got introduced as a part of your NetWeaver 7.4 SP5, hence the new OpenSQL syntax is mandatory when using a CDS view in a select statement. Please make a note of this. Okay. So since CDS views were introduced as a part of this NetWeaver 7.4 SP5 onwards, if you don't use the OpenSQL syntax statement as I had showed you, select from the database table, or if I specify the CDS view name fields, then your escape host and all those operators. If you don't use that, you won't be able to consume the CDS view. So for consuming a CDS view in your SQL statement, you need to make use of the new OpenSQL syntax. So now let's have a 2 minutes break, and then we come to what are the different kind of annotations apart from the view and the element annotations. Okay guys, is it fine? Let's have a 2 minutes break. We start at 9:15. Guys, should we start? Okay, so coming back to the ABAP annotations, as in the ABAP CDS annotations. So, as I told you, the ABAP CDS annotations basically defines the technical and the semantic attributes of a CDS view entity. So, they are usually evaluated for each and every CDS object when they are activated by the ABAP runtime environment. So, To make it very much simple for you, ABAP annotations can basically modify the behavior of your OpenSQL statements that access a serious entity. And one of the prime examples that we discussed was with when we commented this out and how the order by primary key will behave. That's why I'm saying your ABAP annotations can completely modify the behavior of your CDS view with respect to whether it's a consumption in your OpenSQL statements, or whether we are consuming it in any front-end application, or whether we are consuming it in any way. So your annotations play a very major role as they define all your technical and semantic attributes. So we already discussed the view annotations. Like, see, there can, under this subheading there will be a lot of annotations. Okay, so some of the view annotations that we saw today. So these view annotations are applicable for your entire view. This will be applicable for your entire view. Similarly, your element level annotations will be applicable for this element level annotation will be applicable for this element only, not for the other element. So your element level annotations are applicable on the respective element of that CDS view. And it can be either a leading or a trailing one. So it can be placed in front of that element, or it can be placed after that element. Parameter annotation we will see on the next day, like when we deal with CDS with input parameters. Like how do we use a parameter of the CDS view, and how do we use it either front or after a parameter. Okay. Similarly, there is something called extension annotation, as in if we want to extend a CDS view, there is something called extension annotations, okay, which is placed in front of the extend view statement. We will also cover up the same in the next day. Now, there is something called function annotation. That's in when we cover the CDS table function, this will be most probably covered in the day 3, that's in the day 8. So, there is something called function annotation which we specify in front of the defined table function statement, or defined table function statement. This is on the broader level perspective. So right now we are focusing on the view annotation and the element annotation. So some of the important ABAP annotations which we covered today till now is like ABAP catalog.SQL view name, ABAP catalog.preserve key, and @end-user text.label. Now there is one more annotation which is very important and you should be aware about. This is @client handling.type. So if you see, I haven't yet specified anything @ABAP client handling.type, but if you see here, client handling dot type, by default it is coming as inherited, and it has got 3 values: client dependent, your inherited, and client independent. And if I don't specify anything, as in if I don't specify this annotation, by default the client handling type for a respective CDS view will be inherited. Now what do you mean by these 3? Whether it's an inherited or a client dependent or a client independent. So for whenever we use this annotation @client handling, we basically want to know, define the client dependency, okay, and how the client handling is done internally. So when I am not specifying anything, by default it is client handling.type is inherited. What does this mean is that the client dependency of the view is determined by the data sources used. If any of the data sources that we are using in that CDS view is client dependent, then the view will also be client dependent. Did you get my point? Is inherited clear? If any of the data sources that you use is client dependent. So what I mean is SPFL and SCAR both are having mandate, both are client dependent. So my entire CDS views also becomes client dependent. If none of the data sources used in the view is client dependent, then my view will become client independent. So what I mean is, by default, why it is coming as inherited. So in inherited, this two were my client dependent. So that's why it made it client dependent. Any one of the data sources makes it client dependent. Your entire CDS view becomes client dependent. If none of the data sources used in the view is client dependent, then only my view is client independent. Now second point, I told apart from inherited, we have 3 other values. Just put here, see here, client dependent, client independent, inherited. Now, what do you mean by client dependent? With this value, this client dependent, at least one of the data sources must be client dependent. So will it happen anything if I give client dependent here? Nothing. See here. Because my this data source or my this data source, any of the data source is client dependent, right? So nothing will happen. It's a client dependent. Now, with the value client independent, the view becomes client independent. That is, none of the data sources can be client dependent. So let me show you. If I make this, now will error come? See, error is coming. Why? Because automatic client handling is not possible, because mandate is specified for this data source. If you would have seen some cross-client tables like T00 series and all those tables, those are cross-client tables. I can use it across any of the clients, right? For if you use any of those data sources, any of series view, then you can try to make your view as client independent. Otherwise, in most of your scenarios, it will either be client dependent or inherited. Guys, is this concept clear? You should be clear with inherited, client dependent and client independent. So this is one more important client handling dot type. It can be either client handling inherited or it can be either client dependent or it can be either underscore independent. But I'll put an asterisk here as this is very rarely used. Okay. Now, coming to the last topic of the day, that is case expressions, arithmetic expressions, type conversions, and character or numeric literals. So, I have already created certain series views to make you explain the same. Let me open those series views so that we save some time. Okay. Now, this series view which I have created here, I have commented out all the annotations because I wanted to show you a basic thing. See here, I have again used your leading element level annotation here. Fine. Now, what I want to show you here is your hello. This thing, it supports character literal and numeric literal. It supports character literal and numeric literal. So what do I mean is, suppose, Sushil, what do you want to say? TDS2W? Okay, fine. Where did that object go? Okay, so coming back here, this, if I can specify directly a character literal like this, and I have to give an alias name here. Similarly, I can specify a numeric literal also, the number literal 1, 2, 3, 4 as this thing. So let me navigate to this F3 and show you for the character literal and the numeric literal what happens. See, character literal, C char 5 and C into integer 2 type and the char type. Can you see here? So this is my numeric literal, this is my character literal. Similarly, I can use domain prefixes also for my literals. Okay. So suppose for my economic class, my domain is s underscore class, right? Suppose if I do here, see this is my domain, right? S underscore class. So hash the domain name dot whatever value I want to give with respect to that domain. So this domain has got three values, right? C, F and Y. So if I want to specify, rather than giving either a character literal or a numeric literal, I can specify a domain and the fixed value range for that domain. Any value I can specify, and either I have to give hash or a colon. Either this hash or a colon to specify the domain value. Normally we don't use this, but just for knowledge purpose I am telling you that we can give here. Okay. Then coming to, like in ABAP we had your system variables and all. In your CDS views we have your 4 session parameter variables. Okay. So the 4 ones are, if I want to get the current client, $session.client. If you just put a control space here, if you see client, system date, system language, user, current system user, $session.user, current system language, system.language, current system date, system_date, and current client. Okay. Now let me show you the output of this. Then it will be much more clear. See here. So this is my fixed value, right? Y. This is my fixed value, right? F. This is my client, like current client. And okay, one thing which you need to focus, the date which you get here, date. The date which you are getting here in YYYY, and DD, it will not be getting automatically converted to dd.mm.yyy. In ABAP, like how your date conversion gets called and it converts from internal to external. But this will not happen because this gets executed in my database, as I told you earlier. So since it gets executed at the database, you will be able to see it in YYYY, DD only. So YYYY-mm-DD. Then $session.client, $session.systemDate, $session.systemLanguage. See, the system language is E, and $session.user. So if you see $session, where did it go? So $session.client, $session.system_date, $session.system_language, and $session.user. Okay, there are certain restrictions, as in the restrictions here, these inbuilt like which is automatically giving your system date, time, and the client and all. These variables you cannot club it within your CDS inbuilt functions. This system variables you cannot club it, as in what I mean is, suppose we had made use of that days between or something in that enhanced OpenSQL, right? That same thing can be applied as a part of your CDS inbuilt functions as well. So if I want to find the difference between 2 days, I cannot make use of the $session.system_language. So what I mean is, example, dates days between. Remember this function, CDS inbuilt function. Here if I want to specify this $session.system_date, example here. Okay, and I want to specify any date here, suppose 2020 09/01. Okay, and as date difference. Okay, now see the error. Function date stays between at position 1, only your expression, literals, columns, paths or parameters are allowed. So you need to keep in mind that these all, though you can specify this as a part of your input parameters and all. Okay, but you cannot specify this inside a CDS inbuilt function. You will get this error. This is what I wanted to make you understand. That is your position 1, only it can accept your expressions or literals or columns or paths or parameters. Okay, let me show you that as well. You want me to specify the alias field name. Okay, let me show you. So see here, alias name also you cannot specify, because this alias name will be getting generated at the runtime. This, while building this data model, from getting the data from the data source, this alias name system will not be able to understand, because these alias names gets generated at the runtime only. Although we will cover the same in the day 2. Wait for the next day, we will cover the same in the day 2. We'll go slowly, right? Because we need to understand all the small concepts. Because just knowing that yes, I know series view doesn't make any sense when you doesn't know the small tricks and tips. What is possible, what is not possible. Because if somebody asks me, and if they ask me in this date stays between, can I do a difference between the system date and any date if I specify, as in the alias date? It's not possible, no. But if you say yes, then how does it make a sense? Because it will not accept this $session.system date. It will not accept this alias date. So that's why I'm trying to show you this thing, that what is possible and what is not possible. Is it clear, Aldo? So that's why, as I told you, this $session.system date you cannot specify here, and also the alias names you cannot specify here. Does this answer your question, Sudha? Does this answer your question? Why can't we pass an alias names in any of the expressions, whether it be a case expression or anything, or any inbuilt function? Fine. Now let me show you one more use case which I've created for your case expression. So this case expression is similar to how we were handling in an enhanced modern ABAP OpenSQL. Case, whatever field name want to give, when value then this, when b then this. Simple one, same. This is exactly same. Okay. Otherwise, if you want to make it a complex one, first case, then when, first either it can be case, then your field name, something end with, I did not get it, Sudha. This I told, no, for the domain thing, we already discussed. Either you can use a domain as a literal, either by using hash or using colon. Yeah, the syntax, this is a syntax. Either you can make use of a hash for using your domain fixed value as a literal, or I can give colon. I told you both the ways. Okay, fine. Now coming to the complex case statement, either I can give case, my element name, then how do I handle when, or I can give case, then when, and then the element names, and then how you want to manipulate. This is both same as we did it in enhanced modern ABAP OpenSQL. Either or, it can be a mixture of your simple and complex. See, just remember case, then your element name, and when you can handle the values, or in this way. So even if I handle a nested case, case class, when f, then blank, else again I can handle a case inside this. Like how we handled for switch and cond operator, in the same way here also. Case, element name, or I can specify directly when condition, or element name when this, then value, else this, then value. So in this way you can either make use of simple case statement, complex case statement, or the nested case statement. And please make sure that the assignment that I planned for you for this this week is completely on this. You will get habituated to how to make use of this case statement. Okay, how to make use of this case statement, the assignment that I have. Please work on that assignment which I will be discussing with you in few minutes. So this is how we can either make use of a simple case statement, or a complex case statement, or a nested case statement. Now, apart from this, you have your arithmetic expressions as well. So in arithmetic expressions, there are basically 4 types of arithmetic expressions that you have. You have plus, minus, multiplication, and division. First important point, all in case of your integer expression, okay, all the operands to have integer type only, that is int 1, 2, 4 and 8. All the operands to have integer type only. So I have created a scenario for that as well. I'll just show you. So what the name did I give for that? Okay. ZSY. Okay, yeah. So here, what I was telling, the first point that you need to keep in mind, the first point, that during your integer expressions, if you see the types here, I'll just navigate to this type here, this type, again navigate to this here, integer 4, okay. Now, I close this. If you navigate to this type here now, F3, again navigate to the data element type, the domain, type name and all. If you see int 4. So this is what I mean is that whenever you are using an integer expression, all the operands to have integer types only. This can be int4, this can be int2, this can be different, but all to have integer types only. Second point, if you are making use of any of the decimal expressions here, if this is of any of the decimal type, then at least one operand to have a decimal type. At least one operand to have a decimal type. Second point, none of the operands should be of floating point type, that is FLTP type. Okay. So first point, integer expressions, all should be of integer type. Second point, decimal expressions, at least one should be of decimal type. Third point, nothing should be of FLTP type. And fourth point, for your floating point expression, all the operands to have FLTP type only. Please make a note of this. I'll specify here. For arithmetic expression, in case if you use floating point expressions, FLTP expressions, all to have FLTP type only. Otherwise, it will throw an error. Please make a note of all the 3-4 points which I told. All integer expressions, all to have integer type. Decimal expressions, at least one to have decimal type. None should be floating point type. In case of floating point expressions, all to have floating point type. Please make a note of all these points, because while handling arithmetic expressions in serious views, the small errors will keep on coming. If you are clear with all these concepts, it will be very easy for you. Second point, if you are using division by operator, then only your floating point operator is allowed. So what I mean to show here is, if your floating point operator should be used, floating point type should be used if you are making use of the division operator. So that is the reason, if you see, this was of integer type, right? This was of integer type, right? I have to convert this to an other operand type. So earlier we had discussed a cast operator during day 4, right? So now I'll make this handy. Cast this as ABAP dot floating point type. If you want to see what all types it supports, these are all the different types it supports: char, CLNT, currency key, currency debts, and all these things. So you have to convert to ABAP dot floating point type. You want to see what will happen if I change this type? I make it ABAP dot integer 1. Okay. Now see the error. Division only allowed for floating point numbers. Left operand has type. See, though this is the best part of your Eclipse edit. You know, it will show you what the error is. But still, you should have a general awareness about all these things. So floating point type is mandatory when you want to use the operator slash. So for your floating point expression, if you want to use the operator slash, make sure that both the operands to have floating point type only. That's why I told. For in case of arithmetic expression, in case if you use FLTP expressions, all to have FLTP type only. Fine. So in this way we saw case expressions, arithmetic expressions, character numeric literal, how to use your domain as your character or a numeric literal, and the type conversion. Cast operator comes in very handy. So cast operator comes very handy whenever you want to convert from one operand type to the other target type. So you need to make use of cast to convert from one operand type to the other operand type. Till this point, guys, is it clear? This will almost be same like how we handled in enhanced modern ABAP OpenSQL. Fine then, this is all what was the agenda for today. Should we discuss the assignment now? Any doubts? Anybody of you have any doubts till now? Or should we continue with the discussion of the assignment? Because that will take some time today. Okay, Naren, one very important point that I want to say you all is that at the starting also I told, CDS views is always used to fetch the data only. Fetch the data only, because you are able to read and fetch data on your existing database views and tables. You cannot use the same to push the data back to the database, that is to modify or update or anything. If you want to push the data back to the database, then we have to go with AMDP. That is one of the major differences between CDS and AMDP. Jasmine, HANA CDSs are specific only to your HANA as a database. It is not database independent. First point, ABAP CDSs are database independent. That is a very important point that you need to understand. And HANA as a HANA CDS, we will be doing it at your HANA development layer only. We won't do the same in your ABAP layer. That is also one more very important difference that you should need to know. So HANA CDSs will be where you can build a complete model and all from scratch. But in ABAP CDS, you don't need to build an ABAP models from scratch, because we use the existing data models in the views. Yeah, Ankit. Anyway, okay, Ankit, just tell me one thing. Till now, I have been providing you all code snippets, right? Yes or no? Even though if you would have seen the code snippet, it is more than whatever we discussed in the class with comments and all, right? So obviously, I'll be providing today's also. That we won't have to discuss that. For ABAP on HANA, obviously we use ABAP CDS only. Yeah, Danny, we will be covering more and more annotations. CDS is a 3-day course. This is day 1 only. We will be seeing association, we will be seeing extension of CDS view, we will be seeing CDS with input parameters. I'll also show how do we expose the CDS. I'll show one use case, though it is not a part of this course, but I'll show a use case how we gonna expose the data by using @odata.publishTrue, as in if I want to expose the CDS as an OData, and how we are going to see it as a list report. I'll just show you the output. Is it fine, Danny? Does that answer your query? Okay, now should we discuss with the assignment? Stephanie, we cannot modify the entire standard CDS in S4HANA. We can extend the same. The next day when I show you extension of CDS view, as per your requirement, you can extend your standard CDS views. You cannot modify them. You can extend the same and use it as per your requirement. Okay, now let us discuss the assignment. Stephanie will cover that during day 2, next day. Jessamine, in our training system, we don't have access to our HANA as a database, so I won't be able to show you the same. As an ABAPer, you even don't need to think about HANA CDS. Just for knowledge perspective, I've showed you. And moreover, if you see HANA CDS, if somebody is doing development from HANA perspective, then again your calculation views and graphical, scripted and procedures will again come into picture. Those also again give a tough competition. Yeah, Vijay, we can copy standard and modify, but when the feature of extension of CDS view is there, why do we want to copy? Okay, one very important point, see, when we cover the see, we are in day 1 only, okay? Just wait for day 2 and day 3, most of your queries will be answered. Why should we not copy? How do we extend and everything? Naren, see, enhanced OpenSQL, if it is doing all your features and if you're using only a normal single database table, you only answer me. If we are getting all this functionality in your modern ABAP OpenSQL, will I go with the CDS view or will I go with the modern ABAP OpenSQL? Which one? You answer the same to me. Which one should we go with? If it's only a single table and if we are able to achieve everything as we discussed on day 4, will we go with the CDS view or a modern ABAP OpenSQL? Which one? Naren, any answers? Yes, modern ABAP OpenSQL, because if you just create a CDS view for a database table, you are not going to reuse the same, right? Just think that this is your data model which we plan to reuse, or there is something which you cannot achieve through your ABAP OpenSQL and you have to do a code push down, because the same concept when you are using your inbuilt functions, cast and all those things, that is also doing a code push down only. So if it is a single table and all those things and not a much of data modeling is there, and if it's feasible through enhanced OpenSQL or the modern ABAP OpenSQL, please, all of you, please achieve the same through your modern ABAP OpenSQL only. And I am saying you frankly, try to do the same kind of thing with your modern ABAP OpenSQL and try to create a CDS and use the same logic and do a runtime analysis. You won't be able to see much of a difference. Do that and you will be able to get to know the answer by your own. Does it answer your query, Naren? Okay, fine. So the assignment that you have is, you need to display this below data modeling output with the help of a CDS view. Okay, material number, trimmed material number, material description, change in PO data and the difference in weight. For this above requirement, you need to make use of a CDS view only. Okay. Once you achieve the same via CDS view, it's an add-on assignment is that you can try to achieve the same via ABAP OpenSQL as well. So logic is that you need to fetch the required data from MARA and MAKT table, as in you need to fetch the material number, okay, the material description MAKTX, along with the change in PO data with respect to your created date. I've given the technical field names here, and the change date, and the difference in weight with respect to gross weight and the net weight, along with the usage of the weight unit. So for the change in PO logic, it is up to this point, okay, created date and change date. And for the difference in weight logic, it is up to this point, that is gross weight, net weight, along with the usage of unit. Now please note these points, very important, very careful. The trimmed material number should also be displayed along with the material number, so you know what to do, right? Second point, for the change in PO data, first you need to check whether the last change field as in your LAEDA, whether it is initial or not. If it is initial, then display the message as no change in the PO data since creation. This message should be displayed. Okay, and if it's not initial, then check whether the change date is same as the PO created date or the change date is greater than the PO created date. Up to point 2, is it clear to all? Up to point 2? Okay, now as per this point 2, that is the second part, if it is not initial. As per the point 2, if the change date is greater than the PO created date, calculate the difference between the two dates, that is the change date and the PO created date, and display the message as PO was changed after, and you need to show me the calculated difference value also, then day bracket S from created date. As in, I want the output like this: PO was changed after 1 days from the created date, or like PO was changed after 13 days from the created date. This one, I need output like this. Okay, this calculated value should also come. It's not that you just have to calculate, you have to calculate and show me the value as well. Now, as per the point 2, if both the dates are same, that is change date and created date is same, then display the concatenation of both these messages. That is, PO was changed on the same day as PO creation date. Okay, up to point 4, is it clear, guys? How to make use of calculation and concatenation and all. Now coming to point 5. Now with respect to the difference in weight, check whether the calculated difference between the gross weight and the net weight is 0 or more than 0. If it's 0, as per the point 5, if it's 0, then display the message as no change in weight. If it is more than 0, then it is a positive value, then display the message as the difference between the gross weight and the net weight is. Similarly, I want you to show me the calculated difference value here along with the corresponding unit as well. The corresponding unit which I told you, GEWEI. Like suppose here the difference between the gross weight and the net weight is 1 pound. The difference between the gross weight and the net weight is 2 kg. As per this material, whatever unit is there, you need to make use of the same. Is this clear, guys? The assignment is clear. So that's why I've written here, once you achieve the above output, you will start feeling somewhat comfortable with all these Day6 concepts that was being taught. And also it will judge you yourself. See, I am not anyone to judge, or somebody else will not judge. You can yourself judge that how you are able to achieve the same with the small inputs and the concepts that I gave you. So please make sure that you work on the same. Okay. And second part is that once you are able to achieve the same through the CDS view, also try to create a modern ABAP OpenSQL to achieve the same and do a runtime analysis and tell me the difference. Is it clear, Naren? You had this query now? Try to achieve the same with a modern ABAP OpenSQL, the entire. First, achieve the requirement with a CDS view. Then achieve the same, try to achieve the same with the modern ABAP OpenSQL, whether it's feasible or not. If it's feasible, then try to do a runtime analysis. Aditi, we cannot use inline declaration and all in ABAP CDS. This is what when you are writing this all logic. If you see here, this all logic when I am writing here, I am not using any inline declaration because this is just your select query. Just take it as a select query. This will create my data modeling output. I am not going to fetch it into something or the other. And I cannot use any ABAP artifacts here because I told you the entire execution will happen at the, though it resides at the application server, it executes at the database layer. Fine, and the entire assignment is clear, right, guys? Okay then. So we will wind up for today. Sanskriti, yesterday only I gave the assignment, right? To get the value similarly to email and all. I think still many people hasn't worked on that. So you need to finish that as well. So how to calculate number of days or date different from the current date and a specific date, days between. Ankit, use that inbuilt function and try to pass date 1 and date 2 and see the difference. And anyways, this Ankit, the question that you are asking me, I have given this as a part of assignment only. Don't you think? I've given this as a part of the assignment, right? Date. How to handle date. This date will be one of your biggest enemies. This will come each and every requirement. Handling date. Is it clear, Ankit? Current system date $session dot this thing. Otherwise, if you want to, how will see in ABAP current system date? How do you get side item? Similarly, $session dot system underscore date. But you cannot use it within an expression. See, you also have to understand the limitations. Serious view will come with certain limitations. It's not that it will be completely your cozy. It will give you all benefits. There will be certain limitations as well. So that is the best part. When we do all these requirements, we get to know the limitations. Even the question that I've given you, you will be able to learn a lot of limitations here. Fine, then I hope that today whatever we understood, the concepts are all clear. Introduction to serious view. What are the different type of expressions? The basic annotation. @ABAP catalog.preserve key. How to handle the client handling. Then your the difference between your serious views and your SE11 views. All these concepts are clear, right, guys? Okay, thanks then. So be safe. Okay, take care. We'll again meet up next week with furthermore drill down on serious views. Thanks, guys. Bye bye. Take care.